Hello everyone, it's me, Rory Paddock, for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. A little bit later, it's just gone 1:05 in the afternoon, but with Dundalk's evening card coming in about 3 or 4 hours from now, first selection of which comes in the 4:55. It's not too late to get hold of these selections because it's time for a bit of a Dundalk special. Hello everyone, it is me, Rory Paddock, for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk, broadcasting to you live on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Something a bit different this afternoon. I'm going to just focus on, something that if you follow me on Twitter, I'm more known for, my sort of exploits on the all-weather at the likes of Dundalk, especially evening meetings. And I've gone through the card at Dundalk, pinpointed a decent amount of horses that I think could go well, all at really decent prices. I thought I'd leave the afternoon action well alone and get stuck into some evening action. That's my cat, don't mind her. So without further ado, the first one is the 4:55 at Dundalk. And I'm a massive fan of Tracy Collins, the trainer, especially with her runners here on the artificial surface at Dundalk. And she's set to send out Plum Perfect. The 4-year-old's all-weather form is fantastic, with a win and 2 seconds from 4 starts, all of which came over course and distance. After some mediocre efforts on the turf, she now returns to her last winning mark, and at a decent price, I reckon she's worth a punt. That's Plum Perfect in the 4:55 at Dundalk later on today. We have to wait a little while to the next selection, which is in the 6 o'clock at Dundalk. And it's actually a race in which I like a couple of horses in. There's a couple of non-runners now, which makes the fact that I like 2 in this race perhaps somewhat bemusing, but I can't ignore either of them. The more fancied of the 2, according to the bookmakers and according to their odds, is Capella Life. I apologise if I've butchered that name. But represents the yard of Gerard Keane. Colin Keane's booked for the ride. And as the lightly raced 3-year-old makes her 7-furlong debut, I'm hoping this new trip could be the making of her. That's obviously Capella Life, but at a much bigger price, I reckon Alterno could do much better than their odds suggest. It's very, very intriguing to see this 8-year-old not only return to the flat, but also return to the all-weather. Now, I understand that he's an 11-race maiden on the flat, but to see him tackling a 7-furlong race for the first time is very interesting. The shortest trip that he's ever tackled is 10 furlongs, and his best flat performance came when finishing 4th here at Dundalk. He's been campaigned over hurdles most recently, so to switch from such a different contest to what it is now and what they're going to be competing at this evening is very intriguing. It's worth a small stakes bet if connections have potentially planned this very obscure move. So that's Alterno and Capella Life in the 6 o'clock. The next race is the 6:30, and that sees my nap of the day, is a former course and distance winner who's now rated £24 lower than his last winning mark. The horse was trained by Adrian McGuinness back in November 2018, but then switched to 2 different yards before this year returning back to McGuinness's yard. I think it was in March 2020. That's a solid move considering the horse didn't even place for either trainers in that interim period. Colin Keane's booked for the ride, so another massive plus. And is an obvious positive, a solid each-way price. Is hard to ignore. That's Guanabara Bay in the 6:30 at Dundalk. An hour later, the penultimate race on the card, the 7:30, and it's a quartet of former course winners lining up, but I'm going against them to side with a horse who's not finished in the top half of any of their 4 career starts. Now, I understand saying that potentially makes it a bit of a difficult sell to convince you to back a horse that's never even finished in the top half of its flat racing. But Dundalk is the horse I'm going for. Now bear with me. The horse has raced twice over 7 furlongs and once over 5 furlongs. That 5 furlong run came earlier this month. It was woeful in all 3 of those efforts and showed a glimmer of hope when 7th at Cork over a mile last time. The fact that the horse now jumps all the way up to 1 mile 4, considering it raced over 5 earlier in the month, makes it very eye-catching and worth noting. Although we'll need to improve markedly, I understand that. I'll take a chance on a horse that could spring a shock, now upped so severely in trip. So that's Dundalk in the 7:30. And last but no means least, the last race on the card, the 8 o'clock. Unlike the last race where I ignored all former course winners, there's actually 2 that I've won here at Dundalk that I do like the look of. Sleepyhead is the first one, and shown little in 2 turf starts this season, but that was after a near 500-day absence from racing. She should be much fitter for those latest performances, and a return to the all-weather is a definite plus. The 7-year-old enjoys the artificial surface with 6 top 3 finishes from 15 starts all over the course here at Dundalk. I understand that she's yet to win over this trip, but she has placed twice over 1 mile 4, so don't let that put you off. And the other of my duo is a horse who will be carrying a jockey who will also be wearing similar silks to my other selection, and that is No Trouble. A horse you should also be relieved to return to the all-weather, and even though he's a couple of pounds higher than his last winning mark, at the age of 4, he should have some room to improve, and I'm happy to ignore that additional weight. Now he's back to Dundalk. So that's No Trouble and Sleepyhead in the 8 o'clock. So my selections at Dundalk, run through them quickly. In the 4:55, Plum Perfect. 6 o'clock, Capella Laith, and at a price, Alterno. 6:30, my nap of the day, Guanabara Bay. In the 7:30, Dundalk. And in the 8 o'clock, No Trouble and Sleepyhead. Those are my selections. They are also on our website at picksfromthepaddock.co.uk, so make sure you check them out if you forget one. Any comments, likes and shares, always welcome. And as always, good luck if you follow.